Actually, why don't you come from lower and just raise yourself up, like squat down, and in you come. That'll do. Do the water on the stove, pour in the water. I'd probably unplug it. Lovely. Keep going, bit more, bit more, bit more. And hob on.
It's not working.
It's an induction hob, and this doesn't work on induction hobs. I'm not going to get a cappuccino, am I?
No, I guess not.
What now?
Yes, that whole induction hob sequence of Sarah failing to make me a cappuccino was a device to get to the real sequence, which is my diva walkout to go and get myself a coffee. A far more interesting sequence than making that cup of coffee, I'm sure you'll agree. Everything you've seen so far in this episode, and the previous episodes of course, are part of a sequence. From the drone shots in the snow cut together, to the shots of me talking on camera using different frames, different angles and covering shots to create a visual flow and tell the story. The story in this case is me explaining to you how to shoot the coffee sequence. A truly beautiful and moving story, I'm sure you'll agree. So let's break down this diva strop sequence. It begins in the kitchen with my fantastic acting as I walk out. We go from the main cameras that we were using to have me on camera explaining how to film that sequence to a new camera that we haven't used before. We used a Sony a7 III with a zoom lens on it, shooting handheld and having these crash zooms and refocusing to give us a fake documentary feel, much like The Office. You do see me disappear slightly off to the left, out of view, and then you see me again as I open the door and leave. This moment is used for me to, off camera, pick up my scarf, which you see me wearing in the next shot, as I didn't have it on in the kitchen. I could have gotten away with just a jump in continuity, suddenly wearing the scarf, but it is these little things that make the sequences flow and don't jar with the viewer. The walk to the coffee shop takes actually about 10 minutes, so clearly we don't want to show the whole thing. So that's where the different shots at different points in the walk come in. They give us the ability to skip time. If you kept on one shot the whole time, say if Julian was following me on a 3-axis gimbal, it would mean the only way to not have the whole 10 minutes would be to either speed me up or use jump cuts. If you sped me up, of course that would look ridiculous and silly, so not an option, leaving us with just jump cuts. Now at times these can work well for effect, but if overused they become very boring very quickly. And it just looks like you didn't get enough variety of shots and you got stuck in the edit. That being said, if the background had changed drastically, that could have worked quite well too. This is a promo I made for the second season of CNN's The Wonderlist, shot using a 3-axis gimbal, with build presenter constantly walking, but each cut is in a different place and even country. For me, it's very natural and flowing. The walking, the putting on the hat, all the movements feel like it's a continuous shot of him, but they are all jump cuts in different places. Our first time jump is you see me walking down the hill. There is no shot of me coming out of the castle door. It isn't needed. So this first shot is a rear shot of me walking away from camera, and the next shot is the front of me walking towards camera. This second shot is a quick shot and I don't exit frame. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking a character must exit the frame if they're going to go from one place to the next. At times, yes, but mostly, no. If you had cut on that first shot of me walking out of the kitchen before I had opened the door and left, and then cut to that first shot of me walking away, it wouldn't have worked as well, as you can see here. You should roll on your subject exiting frame just in case, but as you will see in this Diva sequence, I rarely actually exit frame at all. Also, when you do have someone who does exit frame and enter frame in the next shot, where they leave and where they enter in that frame is very important. Because I don't exit the frame, where I start in the next shot doesn't matter anywhere near as much. It just needs to be a different looking shot, whether it's the background or angle or the size of me in frame. Now, if I showed me opening the gate properly, it would have been way too long. We did shoot a close-up on my hand opening the gate, but when it came to the edit, I wanted to keep all of the shots more distant. So there are no tight cutaway shots in this sequence. What's a cutaway, you ask? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a shot that cuts away from the main frame. It could be a tight of something in the frame being filmed to break up the main shot without a jump cut.
It's a lady that used to work with my wife, and she said to her once, "Freedom is that I can buy anything I want."
Or it could be a reaction shot of another person or character. It just needs to be contextual though. It needs to be connected to what we are seeing, otherwise it will really jar. You can't just throw any random shot in there as a cutaway.
In the street, I almost didn't recognize
See?
to Miami because everybody wants to get surgery.
The next shot is different in style to the previous ones, as the camera is moving. Previously, the camera was in a static position. Now, it's following me on the 3-axis gimbal. I could have kept it all static, but I felt it would be nice to break it up visually and also to add a little bit of production value. Julian was actually on the gimbal the whole time. He just wasn't moving with it, he was just in a static position. All that handheld movement and the occasional bit of zoom that you saw, that was all done in post-production. And I'll show you how in episode 6 of this course. Of all the shots in the sequence, this is the only one that doesn't work as well as I would have liked it to. I could say that it was deliberately shot like this so I could use it as a talking point, but that would be a lie. You really want to notice me as soon as the shot starts, but instead, you're searching for me. If I was wearing a nice bright red coat, you definitely would have spotted me, but because I am wearing dark clothes, I blend into the background of the wide frame. The solution, other than making me wear a red coat, would be to have me more centrally framed, or make me start against a lighter background. When you're doing a wide shot like this and you want the viewer to see something specific in the frame, you need it to be clear where they should be looking. The next shot is a wide shot, but I am more centrally framed and against a lighter background so you can clearly see me. And this is where I exit frame as I enter the coffee shop. The next shot is another very wide shot. Again, you can't see me clearly as I'm way too small in the frame. And also your eye is drawn to that car, but it doesn't matter too much. I wanted to show that this is visibly another time jump, as the sky is now much darker and the coffee shop lights are way more visible. It's clearly later in the day. There were actually less shots of me walking from than walking to the coffee shop. If I had included more, it would have really drawn this sequence out too much. So there were 6 shots of me getting to the coffee shop and 4 of me getting back to the castle. In something like this sequence, where I am telling a little story, you need there to be an ending, a resolution. You ideally do want that beginning, middle and ending. The beginning is me realising I'm not going to get a coffee here and storming off. The middle is the journey to get the coffee. And the end is me being locked out of the castle as they've all gone to bed, clearly not caring about me at all. So there we go, that's the breakdown of this sequence. I did show you that handheld movement was fake, right? That wasn't the only thing that was fake in here. Me wanting a coffee, that was real. The snow falling though, that was fake. It was layered over the main video in post, with the strength of it brought down to make it feel a bit more natural. All the other snow you've seen so far has been real, it's just this bit was fake. But apparently this is real snow according to the company I bought this from, so it's only partly fake, right? For our kitchen setup, we had Julian on the Canon C200, Neil was filming this on the Kinefinity Marvo LF, with the Atomos Sumo as the main monitor. We used a acclaimed TV 150 watt Boltzmann and bounced that off the silver side of a large reflector. Outside we had a acclaimed TV Boltzmann RGB panel that set to daylight, acting as both a backlight and a key when I was facing that direction.